The world had gone silent for Will Morgan. It had been this way since he buried his wife, leaving him with an empty house and a silence that felt heavier than the desert heat itself. Every day was a cycle of routine and loneliness, a slow, quiet march through a life that had lost its music. The only sounds that broke the stillness were the wind, the creak of his porch swing, and the faint, constant ache in his heart. He was a man suspended in time, anchored to a past he couldn't let go of, with a future that offered only more of the same. This quiet, solitary existence was shattered one unforgiving afternoon. Will was out fixing a section of fence, the sun beating down on his back, when he saw it. A bundle of burlap, suspended from a thick branch of a lonely mesquite tree. As he got closer, a horrifying reality dawned on him. This wasn't a sack of grain, but a person, bound and barely alive. He cut her down, and as she fell into his arms, bruised and broken, the first words she whispered weren't a plea for help, but a desperate, bone-weary request. Just kill me fast. But Will couldn't. He saw not a burden, but a broken soul in need of sanctuary. He saw a life that, for reasons he couldn't yet fathom, had been deemed disposable. He took her back to his ranch, a silent promise forming in his heart that she would be safe here. He cleaned her wounds, fed her, and gave her a place to rest, never once asking for her name or the story behind her pain. Their first days were a delicate dance of quiet desperation. She was a ghost in his home, flinching at every loud sound, her eyes filled with a terror that spoke of unspeakable trauma. Will simply existed, providing, protecting, and waiting for her to find her own way back to the land of the living. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the fear began to recede. The woman, whose name he still didn't know, started to emerge from her shell. She began to help with chores, her hands, once so fragile and trembling, now moving with a purpose as she chopped wood. One night, a quiet tear slipped down her cheek. As she whispered, "You didn't touch me," a simple phrase that carried the weight of her past. It was a testament to his unspoken respect, a recognition of his decency in a world that had shown her none. That night, she finished her plate of food, and for the first time, a small, tentative smile touched her lips. A flicker of life had returned to Will's silent house. But peace, as Will knew all too well, was a fragile thing. A single, ominous discovery shattered their fragile truce, strange hoofprints on his land. When he told her what he found, she revealed a secret. A brand seared into her wrista, cryptic JKS, that instantly clicked in Will's mind. He had heard the rumors, whispered stories of men who bought and sold human lives. Will's heart, which he thought had been permanently frozen by grief, began to pound with a new purpose. It wasn't about vengeance, or even a sense of duty. It was about protecting the fragile life he had found and nurtured. He realized in that moment that he had already come to care for her, and that this was a battle he was willing to fight. Riding into Tombstone, he learned the grim truth. 3 girls were missing, and the brand on her wrist was the same mark of the men responsible. Will didn't go to the law. He went to the canyon, a lone avenger guided by a quiet fury. He found a shack and, inside, another terrified girl. With a simple, silent threat, he sent a clear message to the men who had done this. Their vile trade was over. He brought the girl back to Tombstone and laid a broken blade and her blood-stained dress on the sheriff's desk. An act of justice that spoke volumes without a single word. Returning home, he found the woman waiting for him. There was no need for explanations or grand gestures. She simply stayed, and their companionship deepened into a quiet, profound connection. She started a small garden, humming a soft tune as she worked, and Will began a new morning ritual, setting out a second cup of coffee. The silence that had once been a burden was now filled with a comfortable intimacy. One day, she asked the question that had been lingering in the air between them, "Why did you come back for me?" His answer, as simple and honest as the man himself, said it all, because someone had to. Their love story was not one of grand, sweeping romance, but of quiet forgiveness and a new beginning, born not from passion, but from the simple, profound act of saving a life. And in doing so, he had saved his own.